Hello, Mainsa. So, the promised video about how to become a CNA in the USA. Okay, so what you need, okay, first of all, why did I choose this career path? So, in August of 2025, school started and I realized that it would be my last year with my student. I was a para-professional to a student who was deaf and hard of hearing. I was basically his teacher. I was appointed as a Title I para, but my actual job and how it turned out to be was a teacher to the student, because I had to find curriculum for him. I had to do some tasting with him, not like serious tests. That was other people of the group's job, but I did some tasting with him and I found his curriculum and I taught him every single day for 3 years. So by August of 2025, I realized, well, my student is graduating. He was a senior and I had to find another path because I was in a specialized position at the school and there aren't other kids in the school that I know of that had the same or similar challenges that my student had. So I started looking at becoming a teacher. Okay, so every state has a program, giving you whiplash here, has a program that you can follow that pays for your teaching degree, etc., etc., or you can take out loans and things, but because we claimed asylum, we cannot get a loan yet. So those doors closed for me because I just didn't have the money to study for a teaching degree, and I didn't have $10,000. We were really just scraping by, and yeah, so I had to look at other options. And I saw that our care center, nursing home care center, here they call it a care center because it's really just long-term care that we do. They needed an activity assistant, okay? So I applied for that job. I figured, you know what, I really worked with a kid who had a lot of challenges. I feel up to the job of assisting the elderly residents of the care center with some activities. I think that would be fun. And the pay didn't seem too bad, so it was more than I got at the school. So, hey, win-win. Anyway, nevertheless, but it wasn't a full-time job either. So I went for the interview for the job, and a different job was offered to me, becoming a CNA, a certified nurse assistant or nursing assistant, NA, same thing. And I was like, how do you do that? And do I even qualify for that? So amazingly enough, our care center has the option of them paying the course for me and then I working it back, okay? So every month they will deduct a certain amount of my salary until that is paid for. So I am contracted to work for them a full 12 months. I'm not allowed to quit, otherwise I need to pay that full amount back. That's how it works, okay? Any other place will do the same thing if they pay for your training. So I said, hey, you know what? The pay looks good and the benefits are good and I think I'm up for the job, so let's do it. So I went. What you need in order to become a certified nurse assistant in the USA, and this is on different states, like in our state, you don't necessarily need a GED or a matric certificate, because kids as young as 16 can take the training program and they can become CNAs. So in our state, it works that way. Other states, you need to be at least 18 and have your matric certificate or your GED, your high school diploma, and then you can go for the training. I did my training through Bismarck State College. Our hospital is affiliated with the college, so that makes it a lot easier too for me to go to study further in nursing. And I'm hoping to go further in up to my LPN, licensed practicing nurse. I think that's one or a couple of levels below a registered nurse, an RN. I don't know if I'll go all the way. I guess we'll see what the Lord has in store for me. But yeah, so the course was a total of 9 weeks, I think. I did 7 weeks online, and which were like, it's like lessons online that you need to do and quizzes that you need to write after each lesson. And I did really well with that. I got, I think, 95 or 96% for that, for my online course. Then I went for 1 week. If you hear a noise, it's just the washing machine, the dryer, and the air fryer. Then after the online course, I digress. I'm lagging. My mind's lagging. So after the online course, you do 1 week of practical skills. So that's your clinicals, your skills and clinicals. So for 1 week, I went to Bismarck. I stayed in Bismarck. I went to Bismarck State College every single day for 8 hours, from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So what's that? That's 8 hours always. And we did a full day of training and practicing and studying and learning for a whole week, Monday through Friday. No, it was Monday through Thursday, yeah, 4 days. And then I came back. No, it was Monday through Friday. I came back, and 2 weeks later, I did my practical exam and my knowledge exam. Now, let me tell you, that day, your mensa, I get all choked up just thinking about it. It was horrible. It was so bad. It was so hard. We first did the knowledge test. You get 90 minutes, an hour and a half to finish it. And I studied really hard. I worked through my whole workbook. I answered every single, I think maybe there's 2 or 3 questions in my workbook I didn't answer. I did all the practice tests we got, everything. And then when I sat down and I started the knowledge test, I never saw those questions in my life. Mensa, American English is my 3rd language because South African English is my 2nd language. American English is very different. So the knowledge test was more like they give you a scenario and you need to choose A, B, C, or D. Monkey puzzle questions. You'd think it's easy. It's not. I was crying when I walked out of there. I said, if I pass the test, because you need 75% to pass the test. Hello, sissy. Hello. You need 75% to pass the knowledge test. And I walked out of there and I said, if I have 76%, it'll be a miracle. So, and then right after that, I had my practical skills test. Your mensa? Well, I waited 2 hours because we had set times that we were allowed to go in, or that we were booked for to go in for our practical skills test. And you only have 30 minutes to do all your skills that they tell you to do. So they give you a scenario and you have 3 or 4 skills that you need to do in order to pass and be certified. Look, I just had to deal with the kids first, screaming in the background. But anyway, that was hard. The skills I got to do were what were the skills I got to do? Passing fresh water, in other words, giving the resident fresh water and ice. The other one was making an occupied bed, so making a bed while the resident is in the bed. Another one was, I can't even remember, but I got 3. But the last one was making an occupied bed. And when I started with that, I still had like, oh yeah, the first one was perineal care. So that means washing their privates when you change their briefs. Yeah, so cleaning private area. And that was the first one. That's the longest one. That's got 40 plus steps. And that includes hand washing, which has 14 steps in itself. Then I had passing fresh water, and then came the making an occupied bed with the person in the bed. You look at me. And so when I started with that, they told me, okay, you have 6 minutes left. I didn't think that I took that long with perineal care and passing fresh water, but apparently I did. So anyway, nevertheless, long story short, I had to make that occupied bed, and I kind of went a little over time, but I think maybe they gave me some grace with that, because they could see you're like, I did meisie and she's really stressed. And so I made that, I did that, and I was so stressed. I walked out crying. I called my husband after, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying so bad because I was so stressed and overwhelmed. It was so tough. And then that evening, right after, a little while after I got home, I received my results, and for my knowledge test, I got 80%. And for my skills with my for my perineal care, I got 98%, because they said I missed a step, but I know for sure I didn't. Nevertheless, I got 96% for it. Passing fresh water, I got 100%, and making an occupied bed, even with that limited time, I got 100%. So that was pretty awesome. Why did I decide on this rather than working in a bank or just being a clerk at the hospital or whatever? It's because healthcare pays really good, and the benefits are really good too. It's a lot on your body. It's really tough. The emotional dynamics are hard. Mentally, you're totally drained after a 12-hour shift. And I know that because I've now had a total of 23 hours on the clock. Because my first day I worked 10 hours and 35 minutes, and yesterday I worked 13 hours. The thing is, you cannot stick to, you have a start time, and then you have a when I'm done time, not a finished. There's no such thing as I start at 6 and end at 6:30. Not in healthcare, not as a CNA. You cannot expect that. If you do, you moet weer dink. You need to think again. It's physically you need to be strong. And that's why I work out. I haven't been working out this past week. It's been tough to get into the gym. Not because I don't want to, just because I didn't have time. Hopefully next week I'll get in the gym again. But I had to pause because I'm busy making the dinners ahead for the days I'm working late. Anyway, where was I? So yeah, it's a lot on your body. What do we do? What is the job description of a certified nurse? Well, thank you. I'm so glad that you asked. You change a lot of briefs. A lot. And you help the elderly in their most vulnerable season of their lives. So it's going to be a lot of changing briefs, cleaning, wiping bums and feeding and giving extra care, extra love, extra patience. It is physical, a lot of physical lifting. Yes, we do have mechanical lifts that we get them to stand or get them up out of the bed into a wheelchair, but it still takes a lot of physical muscle to move that mechanical lift. A lot of times you're going to be alone, working alone, if you're not in a big facility with a lot of staff. Like we have a very small facility with a low census, so a lot of times there's only like one CNA and one RN on a side of the facility, and because of the low census. So a lot of times you're gonna find yourself working alone. You need to be willing to do that. So it takes a lot of mental strength, a lot of physical strength. Other things you do is you help them go to activities that are held at the facility. Ultimately, the facility is their home. It is their very, very possibly, very likely their last home that they will live in until the day they pass on into the afterlife. You will find that a lot of the residents in such a facility are on comfort care. In other words, there's nothing else that can be done for them. It's just to keep them comfortable until the day they pass on to the afterlife. You spend some time with them, you chat with them, you social with them, you listen to their jokes, you make jokes, you keep their spirits high and happy, you take care of their needs. So yeah, it's a lot. And like I said to two of my colleagues yesterday, I'm tired, but I'm happy. And I feel so fulfilled. It is a very rewarding and very fulfilling job. On day one, on the job, I was very overwhelmed. Like seriously, on Monday, I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know like what to do, where to go. When I walked in there, I felt like I've never done training in this before. I felt like I knew absolutely nothing. I had to learn everyone's names and where their rooms are and everything, and that was hard. And then on Tuesday, I was on a different side of the facility, so I had to learn everything all over again. I had to learn new names and where their rooms are. And it was a lot. I was feeding residents and I was changing briefs and lifting them in and out of the beds. And then spending some time with them as well when they go down for a nap or when they go to the activities. On day one, we had bowling in the activities room. We played some bowling, and the residents, those who attended, really enjoyed that. We made a lot of jokes and they had a lot of fun. So yeah, that is what it is. And if you are willing to go into healthcare and especially nursing in a care center, you need to be super patient. You need to be kind. You need to be loving. Remember, you become their family. You are in their home, their final home, before they pass on to the afterlife. So it's going to take a lot out of you, and that's why. So my schedule looks like this. 1 week I'm 4 days on 12-hour shifts. The next week I'm like 3 days. Or the 1 week this week was 2. This week was 5. No. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, this week was 5 days on for 12-hour shifts. That's what my schedule looks like this week. Next week I have 4 days on for 12-hour shifts. But it doesn't stay at 12 hours because it easily becomes 13 hours because the transition between day shift and night shift happens the moment when my shift basically ends. But I'm still there to support and help the night shift and put some residents to bed before the night shift starts and help them get comfortable. So, and that takes time to help them get comfortable, because you have to give them a nice bird bath before bed and put on their gown for the night, cream their little bodies, and change the briefs and tuck them in. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's a very rewarding job. I'm glad I chose it. It's gonna be a lot of learning for me still. I have so much to learn. I feel like I know nothing. I have a lot to learn, but I have a great colleague who is training me at the moment, so I love that, and I'm grateful. The nurses I work with are well knowledgeable. They know a lot, and yeah, we'll see where the Lord leads me for this. So I hope this answered your questions. If you have more questions, drop it in the comments below, and hopefully I'll answer some more. Okay, talk to you soon. Limit lekker wees.